All right, y'all, what's going on? It's Combo Breaker 99. I'm back with another video. All right, y'all, so I had somebody ask me if I had seen Joanna's interview last week where she talked about having a last dance, coming back one more time for the fans. And I actually watched it, but, I just been busy. I was going to do a video talking about it, so I just wanted to come back and do this video since somebody asked me about it. It's been real busy this past week. We've been having a lot of active fighters in the mix, so, I've been talking about that type of stuff, but I just wanted to talk about Joanna and her possible comeback because, I've seen this before. We've seen this before. I've seen this many times where fighters, they bid farewell to the sport. They give a long speech about leaving and how they're ready to move on. But it usually only takes them about 2 or 3 months and they get that itch again. Once they see their fellow fighters in the gym or they're like co-training ringside, or the fans see them on the big screen when they're at a big event and everybody's cheering for them, they get that itch, especially when they went out in devastating fashion, kind of like how Joanna went out, right? They feel that need to get that redemption back or just get that fix, which I'll talk about here in a minute. So when I heard Joanna say she was tempted by having a last dance, I wasn't shocked. I really wasn't shocked. And believe me, I still won't be if she does return at some point. Like if she says, look, I'm coming back next year, I'll be back early 2023, I'm not going to be shocked. I really won't. I've seen this many times before, even in the boxing world. Real quick, let me pull up what she said in her recent interview. Okay. So Joanna said, sometimes I feel that I should give it one more fight. I should give the fans one last dance because we had no time. I was not prepared and they were not prepared to say goodbye. So like I said, it was the best camp in my fighting career, The last camp was the best camp, and I was in such good shape. Okay. So I guess she's referring to the Whaley fight back in June, that she felt good. She was in good shape. It was a great camp and so on. But she said that, she felt like the fans, they weren't ready for her to go, and she shouldn't have left so soon. That's kind of how she's phrasing that, whenever she just retired back in June, she just left it all in the cage, she should have thought of fighting at least one more time before hanging it up. And she's tempted to come back, right? I don't know. To me, that's how it goes sometimes. If a fighter doesn't really follow what their body says, and they just continue to fight off of, what they think they could do or what they've done in the past, if they just keep reliving the past and thinking that they could just, conjure up the old Joanna or conjure up the old Roy Jones or something like that, they think they can just go back in there and, flick it on just like that. But guess what? That other fighter also has that switch and it stays on because they're in their prime right now. So for me, my thoughts, I think at this point, it could go two ways for Joanna, like it usually does. You can come back, gain a few wins against lesser competition and not regain the title, just be a steady fighter in the second or third tier. Or you could get beat again in bad fashion and it just keeps happening. It just keeps happening that way. It's that domino effect. It just keeps on happening until you realize the fire is gone or until finally the UFC cuts you or the commission takes away your fighting license, right? Or until you really do damage to yourself. Like I said, boxers, they do this all the time because their minds and ego lie to them and tell them that they can keep doing this. They keep telling them, oh yeah, we can relive the past. Come on, this will be different. This time is going to be different. It's like having that little angel and devil on your shoulder. You know what I mean? It's like the ego is the devil telling you, yeah, let's keep doing this. But deep down, your body is the angel right now saying, please don't do this anymore. We got so much more to live for. That's kind of what it's like, right? So when the ego is telling you that you can keep doing this, your body's saying the opposite. It's saying at this point, no, we can't, because it knows that you can't kick it into that high gear like you used to. You can't pull that trigger like you used to because you just don't have that timing anymore or those reflexes, and you really can't push it into deep waters like before, right? It's kind of like an addiction. It really is. It's kind of like an addiction for these fighters because when you've been doing something for so long and you get such a sweet reward from it, like Joanna's been getting, you really can't turn away from it that easily. It's like a fix. Every time somebody does dope, right, they got to they get this ultimate high, but when they come down, it's kind of depressing. They're back in the real world, right? They're back in that real world, and they're like, I don't want to feel this anymore, so let me get another fix, right? So it's kind of like that with these fighters, hearing the roar of the crowds, taking a punch, somehow is a rush to them, right? It's a rush and it feels good, or punching somebody else in the face feels good, right? You just can't turn away from that easily, even though taking strikes is painful. Like I said, even though taking strikes is painful, It's something about it that these fighters get a rush doing, and they look to risk the pain for the cheers and legacy, right? Roy Jones, Roy Jones, pound for pound, one of the best fighters of all time. But whenever he went through his phase against Tarver Johnson, his out of prime phase, he started suffering losses back to back for the longest time, to like 2011. Each time, even me as a fan, each time with him, I was thinking, yeah, this will be different, Roy. This time's going to be different. Roy's going to be back of old. He's going to knock this guy out. Next thing you know, he's on the losing end again, right? And then you see him at an event where everybody's cheering him on. And you can tell, like, it's hyping him up. He's stepping in the ring again just to make an appearance with other fighters, and boom, he's ready to go again. So next thing you hear, Roy's coming back. And I'm like, okay, I'm supporting Roy. He's got it. Boom, gets knocked out, right? And I'm feeling bad. For him because I'm one of those guys that's like, I know he doesn't have it, but I know he has to satisfy that fix because something's telling him that it's going to be different this time, right? Cowboy Cerrone, same thing. 6 losses in a row. No win since, 2019? He's still doing it. He's doing it for the money now, and he's just doing it for the fight and for that fix. But, deep down, something's telling him now, okay, we're going to keep on doing this because this one's going to be different. It's going to be different for the fans, So he's just fighting on now, but he's not even winning. Same situation. For Joanna, I don't really think she needs to do this, really. I really don't think she needs to do this. She could wind up on that same path as them, if she feels like she can give us one last dance. Because when that next dance comes, she's going to say it's going to be another one and another one. So I really don't want to see her come back because I think what she's done for the sport is enough. Just like the last guys like Roy and Cowboy, they've done enough. So she could be the different one here because, she's done enough for the sport. The way she went out is the level that I think she feels like she's still on, which is dangerous because, she thinks she can keep competing at this high level. That's what her mind's telling her, but her body's in a different place now, right? She's a legend, but she's just not in that same mindset as a Wei Li now. She doesn't have that hunger like a Wei Li Zhang or like Amanda Lemos or even like Rose Namajunas at this point. I think Rose Namajunas is still capable of adjusting and winning more fights against some of the elite fighters or even regaining the belt. That's how I feel about her, at least. And that's the level that Joanna wants to compete at, which is dangerous. That's the level that she wants to keep coming back at. Like even 2 years ago, she told Dana White, I want to come back straight for a title shot, right? So the less she could get was the title eliminator against a dangerous fighter like Wei Li, right? After 2 years off, I give her credit for doing that, but man, it was crazy for her to do that. So she could come back and still beat some of the lower tier fighters, but eventually, she's going to want to go for that belt again. You know what that means. And I don't think she could do that now. So, when you really think about it, like if she did come back and try to get a win, let's say if she did come back and beat somebody like Lemos, oh no, what's going to happen. She's going to try to go for that big fight. Even a fight with Andrade would be tough now. And you know what, though? If she did come back to get, just a win or two, just to kind of erase like the past, that would be possible. But I don't think she's that type of fighter. I really don't think she is that type of fighter. She'd want to go for that big one, But yeah, I think she could beat a fighter like Mackenzie Dern or Jan Janan at this point. But even those are big ifs. What do y'all think in the comment section? I think those are still big ifs for her. Mackenzie Dern would probably be the more beatable fighter. But Jan Janan, I think even somebody like her could give Joanna trouble at this point. But you know what? I do think this. If she made her return back in June against one of these lesser fighters, like when they had offered her those fights, like a Marina or Mackenzie Dern, if she would have won one of those fights, that probably would have helped her mindset and her conditioning a little bit better, because she would have went in there against somebody not as dangerous, still dangerous, but not as dangerous, that was capable of, making so many crazy adjustments in a fight. But she would have had somebody that could have, just got her back in the mix and helped her step up her game the right way, but not just come back 2 years later against somebody dangerous, right? So, yeah, if she probably would have fought one of them fighters back in June instead, she probably would have been in much better shape. She'd probably still be fighting right now, but it wasn't wise to jump right back into the mix against an approved Wei Li after 2 years off. Not at all. But as far as now, as far as her speaking on, a last dance, that was the last dance. Back in June, that was the last dance for her. I mean, what Joanna's done, it'll be memorable for the game. She was a pioneer for the strawweight division. Still has the most title defenses in the strawweight division, which I don't know if anybody's going to touch now. We could talk about, the quality of opponents, but she still holds that record, so that stands for something. So I think Joanna just needs to leave the game where it is, leave the sport where it is, or we're going to be remembering her for taking L after L after L after L. And that's where I stand with it. Just stay gone or you be gone. Combo Breaker 99, I'm out. Subscribe. Peace.